For 25 years, I have been fighting some kind of court case. I have been on some kind of parole. I've been on some bullshit bail conditions. I have been on some crazy corrections order. And today, that all ends, and I have absolutely nothing hanging over my head. And what does that mean for the Chaos Chronicles? Well, so much stuff.
All I have in this world is my laws, my word, and I don't break them for long.
Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today we're going to be talking about, I have literally been fighting some kind of bullshit in my life for the last 25 years. And although I have been out of that crime life for almost 5 years, I have still had stuff hanging over my head. I've had to fight court cases. And today at 12 p.m. this morning, my last lot of bullshit was all over. So I am no longer on any type of corrections order or anything like that. And so that's massive for my YouTube. So I've made light of this a little bit, but I've really been limited to how much I can actually speak on in regards to my corrections order and stuff like that. And so what actually happened was my corrections order restricted me from the amount of stories I could tell and how I tell my stories or anything like that. Because if I had have been seen as promoting crime or anything like that, you can guarantee it that I would have been back in court fighting, some kind of bullshit charge that really would have probably more than likely seen me go back to prison. And so, I've really been tight-lipped about everything that's going on, but today, like I said, as of 12 p.m. means big changes for my YouTube. So, I always get asked, people, why don't you open the vault and tell, stories? And this is the exact reason why. Now, I have been on this corrections order for the last 18 months. And then before that corrections order, I was going through a bullshit court for almost 2 years. And so, I was unable to open the vault and talk on these stories, but also I was unable to leave the state, which, really I was only able to do certain stuff in Victoria. And, I really wanted to get out there and, start doing stuff around the country, which is absolutely what I will be doing. And, so also, I couldn't speak on this, but my corrections officer was actually a ex Port Phillip prison officer. Now, this person was security too, and they were one of the people that worked with the dogs. Now, this made it very hard as well, because there were times when I did post videos in regards to Port Phillip prison, and I would get spoken to about it on my next corrections meeting. Now, I will put it out there that I would never get in trouble, but they would always let me know that, I'm really pushing what I am allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. So, that made it hard as well, because obviously a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about is at Port Phillip prison, and I was absolutely just like kind of brick walled and not able to talk on it. And so it was crazy that my corrections officer ended up being an ex Port Phillip security officer. And I knew this person and I had very minimal dealings with this person. And I noticed who this person was on my very, very first meeting with this person. And I didn't say anything because I wanted to see if they were going to say anything about it. And so, if you guys know that when you're on corrections at the start, you have to go to meetings weekly, and then they change to fortnightly, and then they change to monthly, and then they change to 7 weekly, and it's just an ongoing thing. But they did come in the next week, and they did say that you do realize who I am, and I said yes, I do realize who you are. And they said, now this is your choice whether or not you want to go forward with me being your corrections officer. As you know, it is some kind of conflict of interest. And so, I really just thought this would be the best thing for me. And there would be no hiding behind anything. And all of my crime stuff this person was going to know about, all of my prison stuff this person was going to know about. And so it kind of worked out better for me in the end, I believe. But still, like I said, I was held back with how much I was allowed to say. And like I said, there was a couple of times where I did post videos about Port Phillip Prison and chat groups. And so, my videos were getting brought up in these chat groups. And so I, it made me a little bit uncomfortable to know that, all the Port Phillip screws were watching my videos, but I kind of expected that they would. And especially when I was saying the stuff that I was saying about, Port Phillip being the most corrupt prison that I have ever been to. And so obviously, when people say open the vault, a lot of my stories involve Port Phillip Prison because I spent a lot of my adult life at Port Phillip Prison. And so a lot of my craziest stories that people always want to hear about. And although it's still a little bit hard for me to tell these stories because I don't want to glorify it, but it is absolutely imperative for people to know what that other side of the fence is like if they wouldn't already know. And it's also important for people to know I use my videos as a cautionary thing. And I always say this, I'm not a preacher, I'm a prime example. So if you do the exact opposite to what I was doing, then you more than likely are going to succeed in life. And so, I think although I don't like telling the war stories and that, people are telling me it's a must because it's a part of your life that people wouldn't know unless you talk about it. And so my hope is exactly what happens with my videos is that the youth and the young men and women see my videos and see that this is the kind of life that they are leading into. And so once again, I do not glorify it, but I think it's absolutely imperative that these stories be told as a cautionary tale. And that is what will be happening. And so I will be opening the vault. But a lot of you guys got to understand that a lot of these stories are going to have to be toned right down for YouTube. And then the other stories will get pumped out onto my Patreon. So there's absolutely no rules on there. So I can basically talk about absolutely everything. And some of the stuff that I need to talk about, I can't talk about on YouTube because it just will get me flags everywhere and I'll just get pulled up on it because it is absolutely brutal. Some of the stuff that I will be talking about, it involves, the deaths of people, shootings of people, stabbings, and all of the above. And this is a part of that life that people never ever get told about until it's too late. From the outside looking in, all of this stuff from the outside looking in looks so awesome. This dude's driving around in a mad car, or he's got a mad bike, mad house. you know, hot girlfriend, and always got the schmick stuff and that. And, it's very appealing to these young people, and especially 2025, our youth of 2025 are a totally different beast, and they look up to this kind of thing, and it's scary. Like, it scares me. I'm a father myself, and so that is the exact reason why I started my YouTube, was so I could let people know that all that glitters is not gold. And a lot of this stuff that you don't see from the outside looking in, you don't learn until it's too late. And so, this is absolutely what I'm going to be doing. But I just wanted to put that part of the video in there so you guys all knew that there is absolutely no glorification of my ex part of my life, that part of my life. But it is a fact, and this is a crime and prison YouTube channel. And so, without that part of my life, I absolutely would not be the person who I am today. I always say the only regret I have about anything about my crime life, whether it be prison or that whole life together, is my children missed out on, all of my children, 3/4 of their father's life, because I was in prison. So, I don't want people to follow in my footsteps. But moving on. So, what does this mean moving forward now that I'm not on any type of corrections order? Well, it means that I can leave the state. So, I was not legally allowed to leave the state without getting some kind of pre approval by corrections, which, let me tell you, is absolutely almost impossible. And so, there's so much stuff that I want to be doing. And as you guys know, I don't give away my secrets. A very, very smart person told me very long ago that never ever give away your next move, but I'll always give you guys hints. So what you can expect moving forward is documentary style, Ross Kemp on gang style, you know, type of content where I go into people's life and they explain to me why they are a part of that life and whatnot. And then, so what I'm also going to be doing is stuff that, I'm going to be going around to some of the craziest areas, and I've been invited to some of the craziest areas around Australia, which also leads me to this part of this video. If you believe you live in one of the craziest parts of Australia and you would like me to go there and take a visit, and you can show me through and show me, but I need proof. I need proof in why this is one of the craziest places in Australia. Now, I really don't have at the moment any bars on where I can go or anything like that. So I don't care if your crazy place is, at the top of Kakadu or at the bottom of Tasmania or on the most west point of Western Australia or the most south part of South Australia. I do not care. I want to go there and I want to see it, and I want to see why it is what you say it is. And so, I think that's about all of the secrets that I'm going to be giving away about what we can expect from my YouTube in the future. But also, I've had things like my license and stuff like that holding me back. And, as of today, I have absolutely diddly squat, zero anything holding me back. We will still continue to be doing what we do here on my YouTube. We'll still be doing my crime stories, my prison stories, and I'll be doing, updates on crime around the country that people usually don't want to talk about. But there are so many good things that are going to be happening on my YouTube in the very near future. And so I'm looking forward to this so much. And, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and let me know if you guys have got an area that you guys want me to come and visit. Jump down there in the comment section and let me know what you guys think, and what areas you think I should go and visit. And in regards to the Ross Kemp on gang style documentary style videos, if you believe that you are a part of that life and you want to show exactly why you do, because what do people understand is people think that everyone does what they do for money, which is, usually correct. But a lot of people do it for money, for their family, so they can feed their family, so they can support their family. They might have sick family members or anything like that. There is always a reason behind why someone does that stuff. And it's not always just for monetary gain. And so, yeah, I just think that big things in store for the YouTube, and I am absolutely super excited about it. I have been waiting for this day. And as you can appreciate, I didn't talk about this stuff because, I wasn't allowed to, for one, but yeah, there was very little that I could talk about without having to deal with some kind of consequences for what I was talking about. So also watch this space, because the vault is now open. And if there is any part of my life, my previous life, that I've spoken about and I've told you guys either on comments or on lives or whatever that we can't talk about this, and you now know that we can talk about this, well, also let me know in the comment section what you guys want to hear, and I will do my utmost best to get around to all of it as quick as I can. But one thing at a time, guys. There is no need to rush. We have all the time in the world. But watch this space, guys. I am super excited, and I've got a few good things in store for the next couple of weeks, but I won't give away any secrets. So this is exactly why, if you guys haven't already, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that bell icon, you will never miss any of my clips again. And as always, don't do drugs and crime, and you won't end up in prison.